It's a 1949 Panhead bobber. We're getting ready to fire it tomorrow for the first time, so setting the points and timing and getting it ready to go. We're going to go through that. First thing you want to do is pull the plugs. Because you're going to have to turn the rear wheel over freely to get it in the right spot on the timing mark. So we've got our timing plug out too, just so we can see when we turn it over. So once you get your plugs out and your timing hole, the sight hole out, then we're going to come over and do the points first. So the Harley manual for Panhead says 18 to 22 thousandths. So what we're going to do is set it at 20 right in the center there. We're going to turn it over until we're on one of the lobes. And you can see the points open. Right there we're opening. So we're going to come in here with our feeler gauge and see where it was set at. You can hear the drag, so it's way too tight. So these two bolts on the distributor, this is a set to hold the points where you set them, and this is an adjustment. So you want to break the set loose first, and then you can come over to the adjuster and you can see it move. So that's your adjustment screw. So what we're going to do is get it just so there's just a little bit of drag on this. Just like that. And a lot of times you have to set these a couple times because when you tighten this this set, it'll move everything. If you can see how I set it, I get it just so there's a little bit of drag on the feeler gauge. So you can see just a little drag on there. And that's done. Alright, so we pulled the top collars here on the pushrod tubes. Now we're going to pop them open and make sure that our intake and exhaust are closed. So what I do is I take a bungee like this and I'll wrap it around both tubes. I grab another bungee like this and find a spot to hang them. So now we're going to turn it over. There's our intake valve. And you'll see them go up. Here comes the exhaust valve. And once they both close, right about there, you'll be able to turn the push rods like that, the tubes. So you can spin them freely now. And that's how you know your valves are closed. There's no tension on it. Alright, so now our points are set, our valves are closed. What we're going to do is find the mark in the actual, on the flywheel. So you get it in high gear. Almost. There we go. And we're going to turn it over until we find our timing mark. And there it is right there. You can see There's our timing mark right there. And I'll usually set them at 1 o'clock, a little bit past the center. So we're going to come back just a little bit. Right there, that's 1 o'clock. Alright, so we just set the timing mark on the flywheel. And we want to make sure both of our valves on the front head are closed still. If not, you could be 180 off and you just got to go through the rotation again. As you can see, they're both spinning freely. So next, we're going to do the points, or the advance on the distributor. Alright, so we've got our test light hooked up. And how you want it to fire, you want it to just engage, just like that, when it's fully advanced. So you can see we're off. And we're gonna break loose the lock here. Yeah, that thing's on there. So we've got the lock broken loose now. And I'm going to slide it. Just like that. So now you can see the distributor moves way farther. We're going to slide it back a little more. Okay, now we're going to test it like that. Okay, move it a little more. We're getting closer. A little too far. Just give it a little tap. Okay, there we go. A little more. There we go. Okay. So now, as you can see, right when it fully advances, that's the slightest little bit of retard. Full advance right there, and the light comes right on. You can see right when they in contact, and that's how you want it. So we'll lock that back down again, and then I always double check it after, because every time you lock things down they move. So the points are done on this, the timing's set now. Now we're going to do the push rod adjustment. They're a little bit loose, so we're going to go through that. So we're going to show you how to set the push rod tube adjustment on a panhead, a shovel head, anything with solid lifters. So first off, I pulled the top collars. Got these held up by bungees so you can see what's going on. We're going to take the, well, we got the plugs out already. We're going to take the kicker and we're going to turn the motor over. So now we have the plugs out, and we're going to take the kicker and we're going to turn the motor over. And you can see the push rods moving, and what you want is both the valves closed. So we're going to push it around like that until both of them stop. They'll get to a bottom. So now they're both bottomed. As you can see, the push rods, you can spin freely. See, this one's loose. So now that we've got all the tension off of the valves, we're going to adjust these. And what you want for panheads or anything with solids, anything older like this, you want to go 0 lash. And I run them a little tighter because these have a tendency to expand. So what we're going to do is break this loose. There we go. Now we'll give it a little adjustment. So you can see that's a good 0 lash setting. There's no side to side play, no up and down. It's just a smooth roll. I'm going to go a little tighter with these. So right there. So you can still spin it freely, but it's a little snugger. And you don't have to be super particular with these as long as it's 0 lash. So we'll lock it back down. That one's locked. Check it again. We're gonna go a little looser. Right there. So you can still spin freely, but it's a little snugger than this. So now we're going to do the intake pushrod tube the same way. Get a wrench on there. There we go. Gonna break the set free. All right. Now we can adjust it. So we'll snug it up a hair. That's where I want it, right there. Just like this. You can spin them, but there's a little tension on it. All right, so we'll take this one now. Snug it up. All right, so we locked it down. We've got a nice easy spin here, just that little bit of drag like I was saying. Same on the exhaust. So we're gonna leave them like that. We're gonna pull our clips off. Make sure our corks in the top are seated correctly. All right, so we're doing the rear head now. We've got both the top collars off the pushrod tubes. We're gonna do the same thing with our bungees here. Pull them up, hook them. All right. Now we're going to kick the bike over again. You can see them moving. Intake's down. It's about where we want them right there. All right, so we just got them down to the lowest point. As you can see, the exhaust is a little bit loose. You could run it like that, but I'm gonna snug it up just a little bit and the intake is too tight. So, come back in with our 7/16, our 1/2 inch. Break the locker loose. About right there. Just snug it just a little bit so I can still adjust. right? Lock it back down, and we'll give it one more check before we leave it. A little snug. There we go. So there's no side to side play. Just a little drag again on there. One more snug. Yep, all right. Double check it. And then this exhaust, you can see is way too tight. You can't even spin it. Break that loose. Or the intake's way too tight, yeah. Okay, so there we go, nice and free. And there it is. So you can see, easy to spin, easy to spin. We're gonna take our clamps off, put our covers back on the top. All right, so now push rod tube adjustment's done, timing's done, points done. Gonna run a gas line and get ready to do a couple heat cycles on it.